Welcome to the Tiger Football Report. On this episode, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose, as we discuss the Tigers' latest game against the Dukes of James Madison. Later in the show, we'll look ahead to the Tigers' next conference game against the Seawolves of Stony Brook. Stick around, fans. The Tiger Football Report begins now. Hello, Tiger fans, and welcome into the Towson Sports Network studios for another episode of the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas. The Tigers took on James Madison last week, the top team in the CAA, at Johnny Unitas Stadium, and it was definitely a tale of two halves. The two teams exchanged blows early, with both teams looking to score often. Let's take a look at the highlights of that first half between the Tigers and the Dukes.
As we are set to go, Gunnar Kane, high end over end kick. Going to be taken by Clue at the 5 on the far hash mark. To the 10, cuts to the inside 15, trying to get around the corner, and he fumbled the football, and Madison recovers. Lead back to throw, looking, going to toss it to the corner of the end zone, and making a great grab going up in the air is Domo Taylor. He was well covered, but Domo Taylor makes a great catch, and the Dukes take a 6-0 lead as Frazier will work out of the shotgun with Victor to his right. 3rd and 8 from the 38 of the Dukes. Frazier back to throw. Now he's going to keep it himself up the middle. 35, cuts to his left. He's got the first down. 30, 25, to the 20, to the 15, down the sideline and marked out at the 16, but a gain of 22 yards for Connor Frazier. I formation, Victor the second man. Turn, pitch to Victor around the left side, and he will go into the end zone for the touchdown, as he just took Taylor Reynolds, the cornerback, and said, "Get out of my way," pushed him aside, and in he goes. 7-6, Tigers have scored. 3rd and 6 from the 28 of Towson. Lee going to fire again, going deep, has his man, touchdown, and that's Domo Taylor again. He had 2 touchdowns coming into the game. He's got 2 this afternoon, and it's 13-6 Dukes. Into the shotgun. Victor stands to the right of the quarterback. Connor, back to throw, bad snap, bounces, Connor picks it up, throws in the end zone, caught, touchdown, Christian Summers. And there is a flag down.
I think it's against number 14 again.
Long count, takes it, rolling to his right, rolling, throws, pass, caught. They got the 2-point conversion to Shaquille Vay, who hung on to the football, and it's now 17-14 out of the snap. Kick is up, long enough, and
Good.
So the Tigers have made it a 1-score game as the half comes to an end.
The Tigers closed the half with a 4-play, 51-yard drive that only took 28 seconds to execute a field goal by Sam Hurwitz. Towson headed to the locker room down 7 with a first half score of 24-17. Joining me now, as he does every week, the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. And Coach, when Madison went down to take the lead 24-14 after you guys had scored, it looked like, man, going to go into halftime with that 10-point deficit, but you guys rallied right back.
There was some conversation on the headsets, but I've said this to the kids a lot, and I haven't had the opportunity to say this like I did maybe in 11 and 12, but in reference to not finishing a half or whatever it is. The word quit doesn't exist in my vernacular, and you're going to have to kill me before I'm going to quit. So 28 seconds is plenty of time. A little bit of smoke and mirrors. That I think when we put 22 out on the field, they thought we were either going to run the ball and get out of the half or maybe take a knee. And I had a double play called based on coverage, and kids executed it perfectly and realized that, you know what, if we keep doing this, the big bad wolf maybe not be so big bad. We got a chance to win this ball game.
The game started off terribly for you guys. I mean, opening kickoff, fumble, and Lyric's Clue wasn't a good start for him as a kickoff returner, but he certainly bounced back as he set a school record. We'll get into him a little bit later. But what was your thought on the sideline? I mean, here you go. You've got a team that's 640 yards of offense a game, and you're giving them the ball in the red zone. That's not the way to start.
Thank you. Yes, you're absolutely right. No, I had this discussion with his staff that Lyrics is clearly going to be a very, very talented returner. And that bore weight in the game. He set the record for most return yards. But with a young guy who's got a lot of talent, he goes back to his long-time training. We've only had him for a couple months. And when you're a high school football player, and ball security is when you're better than everybody else most of the time, ball security is not that big of a deal. And it's a hard thing to teach these kids the positive and consistent habit in a short period of time. And I kept saying, we can play him, but you guys got to be prepared. He's going to make a freshman mistake, and he made a freshman mistake. And of all the games, of all the teams that, you just don't want to do it to the team that puts up Nintendo numbers. And what I liked best was how our attitude was about it. It stunk. We hated it. We fought. We were pretty tough down there, but we ended up giving up a great, they made a great play for a touchdown. But we responded. We responded as a team. We were like, all right, we're not going to let it get this down. And how we played the first half was indicative of that. We were throwing blows with them.
Yeah, and the Tigers came right back, came downfield, scored, unfortunately missed the extra point, and it was 7-6. Time for us to step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the second half against the Dukes before previewing the Tigers' next game against Stony Brook. The Tiger Football Report with head coach Rob Ambrose returns right after this.
All right, listen up. Out on that field today, you will be ready for anything. And I want you to always remember, this is the greatest team you will ever be part of.
And when they're asked, what did you do to make a difference in the world? They can say, I became a soldier.
Virtual Wallet can help you be that person who's good with money. See what's free to spend, move money with a slide, save with a shake. Feel good about your decisions.
Tell your truth or trust a lie. Is this hello or is it goodbye? Is this the low or is this the high? Just let it go, it's your ride. Without the low, there ain't a high.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
White Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How can you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Welcome back to the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. And Coach, the second half, Madison comes out, they go down, you hold them to a field goal, which with that offense, when you hold them to a field goal, it's almost like winning. So now all of a sudden it's 27-17. You guys come right back, come straight down the field, score a touchdown, 27-23. You miss the extra point. That's a slight blow. But then what happens next was kind of a lethal blow as Charlie Tutts goes 92 yards for a kickoff return. First off, what's it like when you miss an extra point and then the kickoff return on top of that?
Missing an extra point, missing one extra point is like annoying. It's dealable. We have a whole library of 2-point plays of which we can run.
And you scored a 2-point conversion in the first half to make up for that one.
We feel good about that. But when it's more than one in a game, it tends to drag you. It tends to pull you down. It's almost distracting because now you're changing your planning. When you're talking about early in the game and it's 1 score to 1 score, that's easy enough. Now you start doing the math like, okay, up how many, down how many, what we're going to go for 2, all right, which one do we really want to do? And we're taking our time away from concentrating on what we're actually doing this play to think about what we're going to have to do down the road in multiple scenarios. So it's distracting. And couple that with, 2 guys missing their assignments on a kickoff that really stole a lot of our thunder. I mean, we had blocked a punt, which is a game changer. The odds are if you can block a kick, that's going to make a difference in a game big time. And we were throwing the ball really well, being very, very efficient. But it stole a lot of emotion from us, and it took us a while to rebound.
And then Madison starts piling on the points as they are apt to do. The one thing you did do, though, is you shut down Vadley's running. Unfortunately, Abdullah ends up with 130 yards, and Vadley throws 5 touchdown passes. But you did take the run away from him.
In going back to look at all the games that he has played and all the people that they have beat, the one thing that makes the game almost unattainable is when he's running. Ask SMU about his 200-some yards rushing. And we thought, okay, if we can cover a little bit, cover pretty well, and squeeze the pocket and just make him throw and don't let him bust the game with his runs, we'll have a chance to be in the game in the fourth quarter, and let's see who can win then. And, take away a couple of mistakes, and that's exactly how it would have worked out. He's a great, great football player. He made some really great throws under duress. We got to him a little bit. We hit him a little bit, but not enough. And we didn't match routes well enough. We really didn't. Not at the second level. We got lazy with our eyes and gave up some big plays.
He does throw a pretty pass, though.
Yes, he does. That's why he is who he is, man.
Think he's got a chance to play at the next level?
One thing in front of the other. I think that he's going to have to finish his career, and he's going to have to keep growing. I definitely think it's in there. I think that people sold him short in his ability to throw the football previously when he went to Georgia Tech and coming out of high school, that maybe he was just a runner and an athlete. But he truly is a passer, and he's good with the ball, and he's smart, and he uses his eyes. And from a quarterback guy, he's got great balance, great feet, good transition. As long as he keeps progressing, he's going to be somebody we're going to keep talking about for a while.
Lyrics Clue is a kid that we're going to keep talking about for a while, the freshman. First of all, he's a cornerback. Will he see a lot of action in the future at that position? And now all of a sudden, he breaks one of your former teammates' records, Julian Blair, who had the record for 25 years, 190 yards of kickoff returns in a game, kickoff return yardage in a game, 211 for Lyrics.
Well, it's a little bit of a dubious record because when a team scores a lot of touchdowns and you have a lot of kickoff returns, and I know that was the case in JB's. We were pretty down back then, but I don't think that Julian put the numbers up in reference to the big runs like Lyrics did. That was awesome. And you're watching a freshman who's as green as can be put up long kickoff returns against what is clearly a top 5, top 3 team. And, I gave him votes for number 1. So his future is clearly bright. I know with the advent of Derek Joseph graduating, you were concerned that maybe our return game and kickoff was not going to be any good in the future, but we do work. We go on the road. We recruit. We find good ball players.
Darius Victor did not have his best game, averaged about 2.5 yards per carry. How close was he to 100% in this ball game?
I'd be generous and say 80. He was strong going forward, and he did, but lateral movement was not what he was even close to being good at. He'll tell you flat out he missed 2 huge runs, like home run runs, but he just could not make the cut where he was physically. Yeoman's effort, he fought hard, he was gritty. He was tough. They knew if he's in the game, odds are it's his ball. And he wasn't going to let me not play him. But for as beat up as we were before, I gave all those kids a lot of credit. They really toughed it out. I mean, we went 3 backs and 4 backs, actually, and they did a decent job all doing something different that helped us, be efficient in the game. But a healthy Darius certainly would have helped.
The other thing is you've already lost 3 offensive linemen from the start of the season. Mm-hmm. Starting to look like last year, but this offensive line and the guys that are coming in performing much better than last year.
Well, we were a lot younger last year, and you go back to playing them a year ago, and it's 60-something, and I don't know, did we even score a point?
7.
And it was offensive, it was just putrid. And here we are putting up 30. We blew a red zone chance ourselves, And, we blew an opportunity. We didn't get any turnovers. So, anybody says usually when you play the number 5 team in the country and you're getting 30 or more points, you got a ball game on your hands. And I like to think that we exploited some weaknesses that we found and gave people a little bit of a blueprint on maybe how you can beat them. A little more consistency out of our young guys, a little more health. It's a different ball game. So disappointed, frustrated. I said this in the media that we're better. We're clearly better, and it showed. But better kind of stinks when it's not good enough. And right now it's not good enough. And we had a really good practice, and I'm looking forward to how we're going to finish the week.
Well, hopefully the next victory is coming up this Saturday, and when we come back on the other side of this break, we'll preview the Tigers' next game against the Stony Brook Seawolves. The Tiger Football Report returns right after these words.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
Gentlemen, today's feat of strength, who has the strongest profile pic?
That's me, climbing Kilimanjaro.
Strong.
That's me finishing my 3rd triathlon.
Very strong.
That's me. I took it at the mall.
Who's strong enough to watch the college football playoff with Bo? Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
Brian Vickers, Aaron's sponsored driver. He doesn't just love racing, he lives it.
We got the paper! Woo!
His pit crew follows him everywhere. Oddly, so does his boss.
Right, sign that. Yeah!
And his passion for racing is rivaled only by his passion for errands.
No credit needed. I'll take it.
Congrats.
Aaron's makes owning easy through lease ownership, so you can own the life you want.
When cold refreshment calls, Coors Light answers. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Welcome back to the Tiger Football Report. I'm Spiro Maricas, joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. This Saturday, the Tigers are heading up to Stony Brook, New York to face the Seawolves at the Kenneth Lavelle Stadium. Kickoff at 6 p.m. Stony Brook comes in at 2-2 with victories against Central Connecticut and New Hampshire. They were shut out against William & Mary and came up short to the Dukes of James Madison, 38-20. You look at this team, and there are two things that stand out. They run the ball very well. They defend the ball very well.
Mm-hmm. And they're probably one of the best tight red or goal line defenses I've faced in many, many years. They are disciplined. They are physical. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They kind of wear you down and grind you down. And they're kind of like us in spring ball when we're being really, really physical. And they're representative of what their coach is. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a tough guy, and they're a physical football team. I don't think I could say that enough. They got a talented quarterback, and they got a guy he's in the running for Defensive Player of the League for the year, if not the country, in Victor Ochi. So, it's CAA football. It doesn't matter who you play. Everybody's good.
One thing that they will not have is Stacy Bedell, their running back who transferred from UMass, who was one of the best runners in the country. When you look at their other stable of running backs that are replacing him, what do you see?
Versatility. It got different guys with different talents, and to be honest, they use quarterback runs as good, if not better than everybody else, schemed quarterback runs, probably even more so than JMU. So they're going to play with all 11 in the run game, and all 11 of those guys are physical, fast, and they play really well at home. It's going to be a homecoming game for them. The crowd will be pretty intense, and our guys are going to be in for a challenge.
They're also coming off a bye, which helps them. That gives them, and they've really almost had 2 byes, although they had a game against Toledo that was canceled due to thunderstorms that they played, I think, a half of a game. But how does that change the dynamics when they're coming off the bye and you're coming off a very physical game against the number 5 team in the country?
Well, they're more rested than we are and have the home field advantage, and we're played clearly right now what is the best team in the conference by a large portion, and we are not rested. So this is a mental toughness week. The guys know what we're getting into. And it's just going to be a matter of how much we want it, how long we want to weather the storm, whether or not we're going to finish it.
They're talked about as having a superb defense, but if you look at the numbers statistically, the Tigers' defense is right there with them. I mean, you guys are giving up about the same number of yards per game, and throw out the 51 points of Madison, and you guys are giving up less points than they are.
You can add the stats that we actually played a full game against a Division 1A team that's clearly a really good football team, because they gave Florida the run for their money, they gave BYU a run for their money. Yeah, I mean, I said this when the season started, that we had a chance to be pretty good defensively, and in a lot of ways, we are getting better and better every week, and I like that. The goal is, you've heard me say this before, to be a good team in September, better in October, and a great team in November. And the only way you can get that is if you're building towards that. And I really, really like where we're going. I just need this to transition into wins. That you're seeing it. You get to call all the games. You see there are things that, wow, they're getting better, and like all are injured, but they're still getting better. We just got to find a way to finish it, to push the rock over top the hill and let it steamroll.
You talk about Ochi. What do you do to defend him?
Oof. Don't leave him alone. don't leave him alone. He's not only is he talented, and this is what I respect a lot about these defensive guys, that he's talented, he's physically gifted, but he studies. He studies tackles, he studies guards, he studies film, and he takes what he's asked to do schematically, but technically he's really proficient versus the individual which he plays. And that takes good and makes it great. So, there's going to be times where we're going to have to move a protection towards him. We're going to have to double team him, and actually have preparations for triple teaming him, which I hope we don't have to get to.
Towson and Stony Brook have only played twice in the last 2 years, and both games have been very physical. You won a very tough game up there. They won a very tough game here last year. Do your players get excited when they know that they're going to play? And you guys are a smash mouth kind of a football team. They're a smash mouth kind of a football team. Do guys get excited about that?
Some do. The ones that are inherently tough, the ones that love the contact of it, they get more excited just on the physicality of it, like a boxer who loves his job. All right, I'm going to go, fight somebody. But for the rest of them, it's a football game. I'm just excited to play football. That's the greatest part. If somebody asked me, was I frustrated about all this and what's hard? The rough part is the off season. The fun part is now. The fun part is Friday. I don't care who cares what happened last week. Let's go play another game. Let's go play another game. Let's go prepare to play another game. So for all of us, it's exciting. It just depends on your personality and that personality's focus.
So the Tigers up in Long Island. I know former Tiger great Sean Landetto will be there in the crowd. Speaking of which, you pulled a fake punt with Connor Frazier this past week that was beautiful. Sean would have been proud. I don't think Sean could have pulled that one off.
No.
But, and you reminded me before the show, I had forgotten that Connor did some punting last year. So he is a versatile athlete for you.
Well, this goes back to some of the stuff that we had talked about before, that you look at everybody we have on the roster, or everyone that we can travel, or everyone that's eligible to play, and then look at our opponent, and we're constantly trying to find ways to give these kids a chance to succeed. It's not like we go out and just run plays. That we're going to say, okay, what did they do, and how can we take advantage of it with who we have? And we found what we believe to be a weakness in their punt rush protection. I love Jake Ryder, but seeing him with the ball in his hand doesn't give me the warm fuzzies. So, and we talked about it for a while, and Trick said, we should probably use Connor. And I'm like, yep, nobody will ever see it coming. And we were completely prepared to punt the ball. We had to get a specific look to do it, and they gave it to us. We took advantage.
Two guys had coming out parties offensively, Sam Gallahan, Christian Summers, wide receivers. Both had very nice games for you.
Guys that were sitting there, we were waiting for them to show themselves. Each has different skill sets, but each is talented in his own right. It's just a matter of taking what we knew his potential was, working him through practice, and giving them the opportunity to use their confidence that they had gained through practice. And each one of them have been preparing very, very hard. Christian's playing a little bit, Sam's been playing a little bit, but it was really pleasurable to see their efforts show up. And I think it shows, like I said, we had a lot of weapons. We're going to have a lot of weapons. We're more dynamic in the pass game. We can make plays now, and those guys are going to help us, and they're going to be here for a while.
They both had some beautiful receptions this past Saturday against the Dukes. We have to take one more break, but we will be back with more of the Tiger Football Report after this.
Virtual Wallet can help you be that person who's good with money. See what's free to spend, move money with a slide, save with a shake. Feel good about your decisions.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
Gentlemen, today's feat of strength, who has the strongest profile pick?
That's me, climbing Kilimanjaro.
Strong.
That's me finishing my third triathlon.
Very strong.
That's me. I took it at the mall.
Who's strong enough to watch the college football playoff with Bo? Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
Give it your all for a piece of the action. Getting involved in the moment is magic.
All right, Coach, good luck against the Seawolves next week, and hopefully we're talking about getting back over 500 against Villanova a week from today.
Thanks, Bear. Looking forward to it.
The Tigers will be in Stony Brook, New York to spoil the Seawolves' homecoming, we hope. You can listen to the live broadcast on TowsonTigers.com starting at 5:30 or on CBS Sports Radio 1300 starting at 5:45 with the pregame show hosted by myself and Hall of Fame coach Gordy Combs. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock. Ben Rosenbaum will be reporting from the sidelines. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Tiger Football Report. For head coach Rob Ambrose, I'm Spiro Marikas. Have a great week, and as always, go Tigers.